So every day, let's talk about gender-based violence. Let's not, cover up for bad behavior, because it will start as bad behavior, but it can lead to death. And we are saying the moment we give these titles to a boy child, you always feel that I'm more important than the girl. And you will not take that. You will take that even to the boardroom. You will take that even in the public life. So we are saying, parents, you have got a role.
Yeah.
You can't wait for the teacher to talk about gender-based violence. When you are at home, you are allowing that to happen. Yeah. So the family setup has the background, has the root to the way people behave. Fathers have a role to play well, to play good when they're in the marriages, because the children emulate the behavior of the parent.
Yeah.
The parent is the first teacher to a child. So we are saying the prevention that we are talking about, let's start at home. Let's start in the dividing the household chores. Let's start on negotiating when the children are struggling or they are fighting. Don't say you don't beat up your brothers. This is no baba. Yeah. So these are the things that actually shape society. And if we can only transform society by teaching and learning to move from other traditional ways of doing life that we used to do, that are not contemporary to what we are living today.
Indeed, Lillian, I do agree that everything starts from the home, as they say. The fruit does not fall far away from the tree. We learn from what our mothers, as you are saying, taught us, and our boys learn from what their fathers teach them. So the first lessons really start in the home, then to the schools, then the community, and the world at large. What has worked well in the communities that you've been engaged with? You've talked about the chiefs, the traditional leaders that are now playing a very critical role. What has worked? And again, which simple community level structures make the biggest difference?
What is worked, like I mentioned, the Not in My Village campaign by traditional leaders, but also in Zimbabwe, each person belongs to a faith of some sort. So religious leaders, we have also made sure that religious leaders talk about gender-based violence. And why we also target religious leaders, because we also had some incidences where the church is supposed to be the safe space for women.
Yeah.
But it also become a brooding ground for gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And it has done a lot of damage. When you think you are going to a seat of refuge, then that refuge becomes a battlefield. It's also one of the issues that we have targeted churches. Churches, every form of church, the ones that are under the tree, the ones that are calling themselves the mega churches, especially the ones that, those are mega churches, those are with prominent leaders. Normally people don't say anything.
Yeah.
And we are saying we need them to also to have their own, strategies to fight gender-based violence in the church. We know that, yes, no one is perfect. But I think it's more important when they talk about gender-based violence on the pulpit, because it's happening. And normally people want to use the Bible to say, Eve came from the rib of Adam, so she's subservient to Adam. But God said the word of God says he created men and women alike. They were all created in the image of God.
Yeah.
So we want to remove those the idea of wanting to pick up verses to suit the behaviors, bad behavior. So the churches are a target, and we've seen also a lot of transformation happen in the church. We have also talked about, people always say the white garment church, but there's a lot of transformation that is happening in the white garment church.
Yeah.
We have some that are now gender champions that are making sure that if any of their members take a child and do child marriages, they are reporting them.
Yeah.
So those are very practical issues. Then the school, like I told you, there are different clubs within schools. And we make sure that we talk about, we talk about gender-based violence in the schools. And we also have spaces where women have their own spaces.
Yeah.
Safe spaces where they feel they can be able to talk about issues among themselves without involving men. So those women peace clubs, they talk about what is happening in the home. how they are interacting, the issues that are happening in the community. So we have seen that at community level, it's very important to have those small groups, be it of men, be it of boys, be it of women, because these are also spaces where people can discuss freely what is happening in the community. But at government level, we have what we call the gender machinery that we launch on Monday. Gender machinery is just to ensure that there's a coordination in the work that we are doing, be it gender equality, GBV, because we want to know who is doing what, where. Because there are some areas that are very far, like Mbire. I think you have seen the a research that was done by Zimbabwe Gender Commission in Mbire, where the 14-year, maybe from 10 to about 14 years, they were all pregnant. And it's because they are far off, and organizations don't want to go in those far off areas because of dead mileage. They say, how do I account for that dead mileage? And we are using resources, but we are losing life. So the ministry has come up with a coordination mechanism to make sure that everyone is known where they are doing what they are doing, so that we know we can always prevent gender-based violence. So we have provincial, we have district level, we have at community level structures that make sure that we look at gender-based violence issues.
Yeah, certainly the clubs that you're talking about, the groupings, because some come from families or even religious sects where they are not even aware that what they are doing is wrong. But perhaps those clusters of groups where they can really also get to be aware in terms of what is wrong, what is right, are very critical. And tell me, every household or community watching could take if they could take 3 actions this week to reduce the risk of GBV, improve safety and support survivors, what should they be? Just 3 actions.
They should talk about gender-based violence in the home. They shall socialize their children on gender equality and the negative side of gender-based violence. 2, they should break the couch of silence. Definitely, even in the workplace, people know that this one is facing gender-based violence, but no one talks about it. And they should report gender-based violence. And if you are being violated, please make sure that you liberate yourself. Talk to someone. They will be able to hear you. And please, when we are talking about gender-based violence, especially in these 16 days, when you see orange, any touch of orange, remember we are talking about gender-based violence. As a ministry, yes, we spotlight on the 16 days, but 365 days we are talking about gender-based violence. So every day, let's talk about gender-based violence. Let's not, cover up for bad behavior, because it will start as bad behavior, but it can lead to death.
Indeed, you have talked about what we should do, or communities and families should do to stop that. That creates this risk. And I would also just add and say, here at our workplace, we have a very robust gender program. Sexual harassment is totally zero. There's zero tolerance to sexual harassment at our workplace. We have reporting mechanisms. They are working, and indeed we have had to take action, decisive action against those that would have been consistently being named that they are even just saying the wrong words to colleagues in the workplace. So Lillian, where should they go? Where should people go to get, if the home support is not enough?
If the home support is not enough, and normally sometimes because of the challenges that people are facing, the Ministry of Women Affairs has come up with what we call one-stop centers. One-stop centers and what we call shelters. One-stop centers are places where one goes when they have been violated. And the ministry manages all these one-stop centers. When you go there, you'll find a police. VFU, victim-friendly units, is available. You'll find a counselor who will counsel you on the things that you've gone through. You will find a nurse or a medical practitioner who will examine the level of damage that you have, whether you've been raped or you've been just physical, wounds. You also find Zwala. Zwala is a legal, women-focused with legal NGO who also assist in making sure that there's access to justice. That's a one-stop center. And normally one-stop centers are within, most of the one-stop centers are within the hospital setup.
Okay.
Why we avoided the hospital for them to be in the hospital is because we want this person to feel, safe. You cannot go to outpatients and say that you've been beaten. And those long queues at outpatients in the public hospital. So we created a secret place. Sometimes it's not even labeled. Because you don't want to, when they see me walking to the one stop, they'll say, Lillian was passed. So people can, so we want to protect the survivor and want to maintain their dignity of the survivor. So they get the one-stop shop, facility on that. Then also what we call the shelters. Shelters are places where you have been violated, you cannot stay in the home, you have got children, and you cannot stay in a place where maybe a child has been raped by the father. Whilst the issue is being deliberated on, you can't expect that child to be living in the same home. So a shelter is a place where the child or the mother or whoever has been violated goes to. They actually stay there. They are looked after there. When they are there, then they started the process of, access to justice starts whilst they are out of the home and they are in the place. And what we have also noticed, sometimes some people can actually stay for 6 months in those spaces. And what we notice, instead of just sitting there and doing nothing, we have what we call a life skills facility, where they are taught to do some life skills, looking after chickens, sewing, and all the practical things that a person can do. After they come out of that place, they should have a skill that they can go and start life. And we also have partners that help us to give us starter packs. To say someone wants to go into doing chickens, they have partners who brings, maybe they give it 50 chickens for a start, so that someone at least life goes on. So these are some of those are the two main areas where we are focusing. But some can just go into a police station. But normally we don't encourage. Because what happens. Not all policemen are gender sensitive. And we want to also, to provide a place where someone feels dignified, even if they've been violated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed, I think the interventions that are coming through you, the ministry, through the various partners that you're working with, the shelters and so on, and beyond that, the importance of them getting life skills, because as we are aware, gender-based violence is really a big portion of it is to do with poverty, as you have said. So it's important that these victims do get support in terms of going out there and owning their own means of production. Then only then will they be able to have a voice, because they now have a choice in terms of what they can do with their lives. Chief Director, thank you for these insights, indeed, and your leadership. If you are watching, the 3 actions highlighted today are a simple starting point. Begin them this week. Our way to go to get help, contacts are on the system, on the screen. Share this conversation with one family or community leader who needs it. And let's work together for the safer homes and stronger communities. Thank you, and thank you very much, Director.
Thanks so much for having me.